Hey guys, and welcome back to Young Hero Rants. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. In fact, this is the first Young Hero Rants episode for 2018. And because of that, I wanted to start 2018 off with a bang by talking about a topic that I've been putting off for the longest time. So tonight we are finally going to talk about it. We are finally going to examine the queen of race baiting herself, Francesca Ramsey.
Gotcha, bitch!
Psych! I tricked you guys. It was a joke. It was a bamboozle. But in all seriousness, we are not actually going to be examining Francesca Ramsey. We are going to be examining someone very special. Someone that's been causing a little bit of a stir, a little bit of trouble on YouTube recently. She is the 6th worst channel on YouTube. Can you guess who she is?
Obviously, you guys only give a fuck and want to talk to me when it's on your terms, or makes me seem like I'm just wanting some sort of comfortable padding safe space.
Obviously, you guys only give a fuck and want to talk to me when it's on your terms, or makes me seem like I'm just wanting some sort of comfortable padding safe space.
Obviously, you guys only give a fuck and want to talk to me when it's on your terms, or makes me seem like I'm just wanting some sort of comfortable padding safe space.
Yes, we are examining Doodletones, and I couldn't think of a better person to be the subject of the first Young Hero Rants episode of 2018 than her. And let me tell you, it's been a long time coming. There are many things you can criticize Doodletones for. She's shady, manipulative, incredibly hypocritical, incredibly oversensitive, has a tendency to take things way too seriously, is occasionally cringy, she throws people under the bus, and she has a tendency to rule with emotion rather than logic. Now, while I will definitely criticize her for some of those things, this video was made with this one question in mind. When does it stop becoming a mistake? When do actions stop becoming mistakes, and when does it become a repeated pattern of shitty behavior? Now, recently, Doodle revealed this to me on Twitter that she had definitely made mistakes but was trying to change and be a better person. Now, as much as I want to believe that this is the case and that she is trying to change her ways and that she no longer stands behind the shady actions she did in the past, aka a year ago, I can't. I can't in good conscience believe that. Let me make this very clear. What Doodle is doing are not mistakes, they're not slip-ups, they're not oopsies, I did something wrong, and I'm learning from it, and I'm not going to do that again. No, these are deliberate, repeated attempts of shitty behavior. It is screwing people over. It is throwing people under the bus for no other reason than petty spite. And oh boy, do I have the examples to prove it. So let's break them down one by one. Now, these are the ones that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm pretty sure there are plenty more examples out there of Doodle doing this to other people. So if you have any more examples of her doing just that, please leave it in the comments down below. I would love to hear it. Alright, let's start off with Dylan Thomas. Now, for those of you who don't know, Dylan Thomas and Doodletones used to be friends. Dylan, for lack of a better term, was a white knight for Doodle. He stood up for her on numerous occasions, especially during the Medicare drama. When she was getting lambasted left and right, he stood up for her. Which makes sense because that's what any friend would do. You know, they stick up for each other. They're supposed to be loyal to one another. Obviously, Doodle didn't listen to the Chris Brown song Loyal enough because she doesn't really understand the concept of loyalty. You see, when Dylan Thomas made a commentary titled Emotion versus Logic, where he dared to tell Doodle that if she wanted the jar drama to stop, that she should just stop talking about it, which is not an attack, it's just sound advice, good advice, keep in mind, she decided to respond. And how did she respond? Well...
Yeah, no, that's not true. He's pointed out multiple things he got wrong in plenty of other videos.
Now, why do you think that's there? It's certainly not there because it's actually a bad commentary. It's there because Doodle didn't like the fact that she was criticized. Seriously, if you delve into her history, if you actually look into it, then you would know that she has gained a notorious reputation for reacting very poorly to criticism, and this isn't the only time that she has done this. But hey, it's okay to throw a friend under the bus because they criticized you. It's completely fine, because, she apologized for it. She apologized for it and admitted that she was wrong, and they talked it out.
Ryan Boone and I talked with Dylan. Yeah, he actually calmed down and we talked it out. And he filled me in on things, pointed out the problems I caused, and informed me with issues he had regarding the commentary community that I don't inherently disagree with. I'll go ahead and get my apologies out of the way, because really, that's the big thing that I need to do, as I am definitely the one to blame for all of this. So first of all, I'd like to apologize to Dylan for A, not talking it out sooner, and B, keeping the flames kindled. To be honest, I think that was the worst part about what I did, because I at least had a reason for not talking it out sooner. I mean, yeah, that did cause a lot of this, but I can argue the reason was there. But there was no reason I should have kept the fire kindled like I did, going out of my way to call Dylan a petulant child that was flipping his shit out over nothing, when in reality he was flipping his shit due to the fact that people were attacking him, doing the one thing I do not support, which is witch hunting.
Did she hold true to this apology? When Manga Common dared to have the audacity to host a stream in which members of the Neo and Alt-CC could collectively share their issues on Doodle, she did not handle it well at all. She flipped her shit and pretty much put Dylan and everybody else that was in the call on blast, publicly. In fact, Manga Common got so much hate because of the stream that he was forced to apologize for offending her. No, I'm not joking. You want proof? You want evidence of this? Okay, here it is. And if you thought the situation couldn't get any shittier, she did this to Dylan in her response to the Manga Common stream.
Oh, and Dylan, let us not forget your little jump to your defense when I stated that I was feeling like some of my friends within the alt seemed to be ready to backstab me at any point because I felt they were doing some shady shit. I hate to bring private stuff to the public, really I do, but if you're gonna sit there and act like whenever the alt-CC is even brought up that nobody's gotta be in the wrong, then I'm afraid that I need all the evidence that I can bring up.
Can you call that a mistake? Can you call that a slip-up? Or is it just another instance of shitty behavior on Doodle's part? I mean, leaking a private conversation because you didn't like the fact that he criticized you in a stream. How thin-skinned can you be to think doing something like that is a good idea? And keep that whole privacy thing in mind, because it's going to be very important later on. Let's not forget how she also threw smartass Burb under the bus, and when Ryan got triggered over the whole black people are not oppressed thing. Now yes, while she wasn't the main catalyst behind it, that was Ryan, she was a contributor from it, even declaring him a mistake. A mistake because of a difference in opinion. What they were doing in that stream was essentially witch hunting, or really at the very least mob mentality. And to be quite honest with you, I find that kind of behavior to be absolutely disgusting, regardless of who's doing it. But yet she says that she's against witch hunts. She says that she's against mob mentality, yet engages in it herself. Oh boy, we have reached peak hypocrisy, my friends, and it is glorious. Oh, and one cannot forget how she also threw Renegade Master and Kurome under the bus, merely because they left comments disagreeing with Doodle on a few of her videos, and she put both of them on blast. Kurome, with the stream, I'll leave a link to the stream in the description down below if you want to watch it, and in the case of Renegade Master, she had YouTube Dude come on, in a video that was unrelated to that whole thing. Again, this was all because they left comments disagreeing with her. Oh man, I gotta tell you, jumping off my balcony so I can break all my bones sounds real enticing right now. But hey, we can take solace in the fact that yours truly wasn't thrown under the bus, wasn't screwed over in any way, because I'm a small fry. Who really cares about me, right? It's not like Doodle screwed me over as well, right? Right?
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god, stop fucking lying.
I don't think Douglas's video is that bad still. Like, looking back at it, because I watched it again, like within the past couple of days, there are certainly a lot more problems than I had originally thought. A lot more problems than I had originally thought.
Yeah.
But I still don't think it's bad. Here's the thing. Considering Douglas is an outsider to a lot of the dramas that he's talking about within the video, which on its own is a problem, but considering he's an outsider for a lot of these things, I can still see where he's coming from, because he doesn't have the full story, which again is a problem. He's talking about a lot of dramas that he doesn't fully understand. He's trying to, or a lot of the stuff that he says within his video are assumptions. They're not baseless assumptions, though, and I can certainly give him that. But they are mostly assumptions.
Okay, so the gist of that comment is that because I'm an outsider to the CCE, aka a ranter, I have no credibility and my opinion means less than nothing, and I essentially don't know what I'm talking about because I don't know the full story, apparently, and that the things I talked about in the first video are essentially assumptions, which, by the way, she makes absolutely no attempt to explain why the things I talk about are assumptions. But that's beside the point. She tries to play it off as criticism, and let's be honest, it's not criticism. It's not. What it is a blatant attempt to dismiss my efforts because she didn't like the fact that I criticized her. And this is also a blatant attempt to send a tidal wave of hate onto my channel. The only reason that didn't happen is because it was a stream and not a full-fledged commentary. If it was, and she tried to do a full-fledged commentary on my first CC video. She tried and couldn't do it. If that were the case, then the intent would still be the same. And really, I plan to cover that video in full detail on what ruined the commentary community, so if you want to know my full thoughts on it, just go ahead and watch that video when it comes out. But this is the thing that bugs me about all of this, is the fact that Doodle keeps doing this, keeps screwing people over, keeps throwing people under the bus. I don't understand it. I really don't understand why she keeps doing this. Look, if the Todd thing were her only slip-up, were her only mistake, I would have been willing to overlook it. Yes, what she said still would have been really shitty, but I would have been able to overlook that and say, you know what, okay, it's a mistake, we're human, we all make mistakes. As long as she learns from it and doesn't do it again, everything should be kosher. But she just keeps doing it over and over again. She's not just doubling down, she's tripling down on this terrible behavior. And the thing is, she's not stupid. She's an incredibly smart individual. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she doesn't care. She doesn't care who she screws over or who she throws under the bus. If you dare to criticize her in any way, regardless of the intent, you will get put on blast. You will get lambasted. If it could happen to me, Dylan, Kurome, Renegade Master, Manga Common, and so many others, it could happen to you. Right? And at a certain point, you have to realize that these are not mistakes. Let's call them for what they are. These are not mistakes. This is just an attempt to justify terrible behavior. Because when you keep doing the same terrible things over and over and over again, you cannot call them mistakes. Because they aren't. Because, you know, when you do that, you're not a retaliator, you're not a ranter, you're not a commentator. You're just an asshole that's doing terrible things, and then when you get called out on it, you attempt to justify it and say, oh, I just made a mistake, you guys. It's a mistake, I screwed up, but I'm trying to change and I'm trying to be a better person. Honestly, I don't believe that. I don't believe it because I know, in my heart, she's going to do it again and again and again and again. And it's not genuine. It's just completely disingenuous. I'm sorry. I'm getting a little heated, so I'm just gonna bring it down. Despite what I just said, this is far from the only bone I have to pick with Doodletones. There's so much more that I want to talk about in this video. We're digging further down the rabbit hole, and oh boy, it is going to be a treat. Doodletones will sometimes allow her emotions to rule over logic. Not only does this cause a lot of regrettable shit to be said, but it also causes her to say things that are flat out not true, like in the case of her Us versus Them video where she says this.
Chambers addresses some of her concerns with the alt-CC, some of the problems she has. Being a moderate, she gets kicked right the fuck out of their group. And yeah, sure, you can accuse her of lying about shit, but she was addressing some things from her point of view in a conversation. It's like, fuck, can't people hold some issues with you guys, or is it because you're not sucking dick, then you're just some spurky neo-CC scumfuck?
Now, this is not true at all. Chambers wasn't kicked out of the alt because she had differing opinions. She was kicked out because she leaked private information. Now, I can name who she leaked the private information to, and that was, of course, Doodletones. Now, this is not a diss against Chambers. I like Chambers. She has been nothing but good to me. But facts are facts. What bugs me about all of this is the fact that Doodle essentially used this as a way to portray a dishonest narrative. She knew full well what Chambers actually did, but was completely okay lying to the audience anyway to portray this narrative like, hey, Chambers was kicked out of the alt because she had differing opinions. Look, everybody, look how bad the alt-CC is. They can't take people that have differing opinions. Look how bad they are. I mean, look, the alt-CC is not perfect. It has its own fair share of problems, but if we're going to go after somebody, or in this case a group of people, go after them with things that are actually true. And again, she knew this was dishonest. She knew she was completely lying, but didn't care, and was comfortable telling you guys something that wasn't true. And honestly, if you take 5 minutes to actually look into the situation to find out what really happened, you will find this. But obviously, Doodle didn't bother to do any research to figure out why she was actually kicked out. Which I don't understand personally. I mean, surely it couldn't have taken that long to do. But hey, I guess you needed to pump out a video as quickly as possible to get those views, to get those clicks, because, you know, anyone that, you know, disagrees with you or who you don't like must be put on blast. I'm really trying to keep it together, but it's really hard. And really, what she did by doing this was essentially open Chambers up to more hate and attacks. The only reason that didn't happen is because the people that watched it likely didn't look into the situation and what really happened. And this is just one case of her letting emotions rule over logic, which is highly disappointing for somebody that is supposed to be very logical and is supposed to be the figurehead of this ginormous community, or well, small community, more like it. But the Chambers thing isn't the only example of her doing this. She has done this to individuals as well. People like me, for instance.
Let's be honest with ourselves, he's a joke and nobody on YouTube, CC or otherwise give a single solitary shit about his dumb opinions.
Douglas, you seem to have this goal where you're working towards being the worst person in this entire thread. Against a guy who said men should have less rights, a guy who double talks his friends, and a kid who wants trivialized suicidal thoughts. My question is, why? See, the reason I say this is because throughout this chain, later and leading up to now, you seem to just want to disregard Snake simply because he's Snake, and constantly spout off this idea that Snake is this subhuman creature who should be spat on and actually outcasted by the rest of the community, which shows to me, at least, that you don't care to actually argue anyone or anything, but merely want to avoid talking to people, while at the same time talking to the people you want to avoid. It's odd.
I'm sorry, but this is a very far reach for drama, and I thought you commentating on a dumb Twitter argument was stupid in of itself. I don't know where you got this opinion that I think that Nihilistic Snake is subhuman trash. I never said that, nor did I ever think that. And I just love how you try to paint me as this evil, horrible, malicious person who thinks that I want Nihilistic Snake to be ostracized from the CC because he is a cancer to it. I never said that. I never said that. I just said that nobody cared about his dumb opinions. I didn't say, oh, he should be gone from the CC, he should be eradicated because I don't like him, and not a lot of people like him, so therefore he should be gone. I literally never said that, so I don't really know where you're getting that from. Look, I know it makes for a more enticing video to paint me as this evil, horrible, malicious person, and paint me in the worst light possible, but it's inaccurate and gives people the wrong impression. And like I said previously, you're not stupid, you're incredibly smart. You know exactly what you're doing. You know that what's coming out of your mouth is complete nonsense. You know it's completely inaccurate, but you just say it anyway without really thinking about it, because it's a lot easier to garner views and clicks by being completely dishonest and misleading people than it is to actually be honest and tell the truth. And what you are doing is essentially over-sensationalizing the whole thing to make it seem worse than what it actually was. It was just a dumb Twitter argument and nothing more than that. Again, this is very far reach for drama. You are really reaching here to try and find any sort of juicy situation, and it's just honestly sad and downright pathetic. Oh, and I love this little jab you make at me here.
Compared to other commentators like at Doodletones, at Rhinob Mills, and at Manga Cayman, he's never really taken off, so I can see why he's so bitter. Dismisses me as bitter because of my reputation. This is why no one loves you, Doug.
Boy, Douglas and Snake, you're both being antagonistic little shitstains here, aren't you?
But all you do is shit talk other people like at GaGreen18, at some_Blagguy, and at Nate Talks to You. But that isn't hypocrisy, no siree it isn't. And that matters, why, faggot? Oh yeah, it doesn't. Why don't you go whine about Kavlam some more?
It matters because you were justifying my distaste for the man-child in the corner because all he's good for is shit-talking other people. Zion Dumbass here was merely pointing out how, going by your justification to hate the conundrum, people have the right to hate you as well. He's pointing out moral hypocrisy because if it's bad the conundrum shit-talks people, then it's bad when you do it. Now Snake, do you actually care to address any of these allegations against you, or are you just going to keep proving to us that when put into a discussion, you're about as useless as glow-in-the-dark genital dye?
You assume that I'm an antagonistic shitstain because of a dumb Twitter argument, and you get on my case for dismissing Snake because of his bad reputation, yet you would later go on to dismiss me for my first CC video. Not to mention you've dismissed so many other people over the last year or so because of differing opinions, because they say things that you don't like. So you're not really one to talk in this regard. And I also love the fact that you call me Zion Dumbass. I really don't see what purpose that actually has. And I find it quite funny that you say that because you get all bent out of shape anytime anybody calls you Doodle Diapers, which I agree is a stupid nickname. It's beyond stupid. But it's really hypocritical to get upset when somebody else calls you a name, so much so that you put the 7th Bloody Dragons commentary on you at number 2 solely because he called you Doodle Diapers, yet it's completely okay for you to call other people names. I don't see how in any realm that actually makes sense, but of course, your Doodletones and logic isn't always your forte. Emotions are. That is the reality. That is the sad reality of this entire situation.
And no, I'm not just saying that because I was the main target of mindless drivel and borderline transphobia for pretty much the entire year.
And no, I'm not just saying that because I was the main target of mindless drivel and borderline transphobia for pretty much the entire year.
What? This has got to be a joke. You can't be serious, right? So let me get this straight. You're claiming that you're the victim of transphobic attacks, even though you don't name the people that did it, nor do you provide any evidence to prove that this is the case, because providing evidence to a most likely bullshit claim is just too hard nowadays, yet you desperately want to make people believe that people are going after you because you're transgender, despite the fact that most people are actually going after you because of the shady shit that you've done. In most of the videos that have been made on you, they've never brought up the transgender thing as a talking point, let alone an argument. You desperately want to make people believe that people are only going after you because you're transgender. Hey, anything to absolve any sort of responsibility for your part in making the CC the toxic entity that it is today, then so be it. People are going after me because I'm transgender. It's all a transphobic thing. The short answer is no. I honestly don't believe Doodle will change. I want to believe that this is the case because I'm a sympathetic human being. I want to believe that people can change, but she has done this so many times that it's hard to believe that she'll actually follow through. It's the same old song and dance. You can't consistently engage in shady shit and engage in shitty behavior, and then when people call you out on it, you say, "Oh, I've made mistakes, but I'm trying to be a better person." It's not genuine. It just comes off as disingenuous PR speak. You're not saying it because you actually believe you're going to change or because you actually want to. You're saying it to save your own ass, to prevent backlash. And let's be honest, she's going to do this again. She is going to out another person. She's going to put them on blast when they say or do something she doesn't like. And that's the fucked up thing about it. I don't want that to happen. I wouldn't wish that fate upon anybody, not even my worst enemy. But I know in my heart that she's going to do it again. And we all know that she's going to do it again. She's a good content creator, and I don't think she's a bad person, but I don't think she's an honest or trustworthy one. It's an inevitability. It's like Electronic Arts shuttering another development studio or Disney releasing another Star Wars film. I mean, at this point she's done it so many times, what's not to say that she's not going to do it again? And I'm pretty sure you're also wondering, why do so many people defend Doodle even though she's done so much shady shit? And that's because they're scared of her. They're not going to speak out about this stuff. They don't want to get put on blast because they know that Doodle is not an easy person to work with, let alone be friends with. And they fear if they speak out or criticize her in any way, then they're going to be put on blast. And they don't want that to happen, so they're just going to stay silent about it. They're not going to speak out about it, because they don't want to be put out there to be attacked. And while I'm frustrated at the fact that people continually defend Doodle, I understand why people continue to do it. She's a big name within the CC. She has a lot of clout. She can send tidal waves of hate to other people's channels like that, and essentially, you know, make them a joke. Not necessarily ruin them, but ruin their day, to be more accurate. And it's truly unfortunate. It is truly unfortunate because I do believe that there is good in her. I don't hate her. I really don't, despite everything I've said in this video. But at a certain point, you really have to realize this person's not going to change. They're not really going to follow through on what they say because they've said it so many times and have never actually followed through on their promises. So at a certain point, you just got to give up and say, well, this is not going to happen. They're not going to change no matter what they say, and it's futile to think they actually will. It's just inevitable at this point that another person is going to get thrown under the bus, and that's not going to change in 2018, despite what she is saying, and despite saying that, oh, I want to make the CC better, and make it better for everyone. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't mean to be so pessimistic about it, but considering Doodle is the cause for why the CC is toxic, or at least most of it, I don't have any hope. I really don't. I could be wrong, and I hope I am, but I'm not exactly holding my breath in that regard. Let's fire up the examometer and give this channel a score. like I said previously, I don't hate Doodle, I don't think she's a bad person, but I don't think she's an honest or trustworthy one. Now, some people will say, oh, the only reason you made this video is because you're jealous of Doodletones and you want to be her. No, that is not the reason. You literally could not pay me to be her. If YouTube fame turns you into the kind of person Doodle has become, then I honestly want no part of it. Yes, I've screwed up and I've definitely made plenty of mistakes that I'm not proud of, but I would never screw over the people closest to me merely because they disagree with me or said something I didn't like. That would be a slimy asshole thing to do. Now, while Doodle is a fantastic content creator, and that is something I will always stand behind, I cannot overlook the shady shit she's done as a person. And that is something that definitely needs to be highlighted, because I believe more people need to be aware of what is going on. Because Doodle as a person is a nasty piece of work, she is not a good person, and more people need to be aware that this is the case. And I honestly didn't want to make this video. I didn't feel like I ever had to make this video. But it's gotten to the point where I feel like making this video is necessary. Because you should be aware of what's going on, and you should be aware of the type of person Doodle is. Look, so listen, if the whole Todd thing was her only slip-up, I would have been willing to overlook it, but the fact that she's done so many other terrible things, at a certain point, you can't just ignore it. It's something that needs to be talked about, and I don't think it should be swept under the rug because, oh, you're being too mean to Doodletones, you're just attacking her because it's the trendy thing to do. Bottom line is this. If you're looking for good commentaries, go and check her out, by all means. She's one of the best there is. But if you're looking to interact with her on a personal level, you need not apply. As with all examining episodes, I want this to be the beginning of a discussion. What do you think about Doodletones? Do you like her? Do you not like her? Are you meh? Are you in the middle? Please let me know in the comments down below. Yeah, I've been sick the last couple of days. I'm now just getting over it, so if you're wondering why my voice sounds weird, that is the reason, but I should be back to full strength within the next few days. Yeah, so with all that being said, this is ThatKidDouglas, aka the Unhero, signing out. Deuces, stay frosty and keep it weird. Cueing outro sequence now.